Chapter 71 Infiltrating into the Hidden Grass Village. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 71 Sneaking into Choin Village. Since the three of Uchiha Xiyan were on a normal mission and did not involve any secrets, they followed normal procedures. The three of them were all on time, and Kakashi was not as late as in the original work. After all, he was still in the ANBU now, not a relatively free ninja on the bright side. The country of grass that the three of them are going to is a small country sandwiched between the country of fire and the country of earth. Since it is a small country, it does not have its own special ninjutsu, and is always criticized. The goal of Uchiha Xiyan and the other three this time is to bring the mother and daughter of the Uzumaki clan who are living in the grass-hidden village in the country of grass to Konoha village, since time was urgent and Kosovo's mother's life might be in danger at any time. Uchiha Xiyan and the three of them hurried on their way immediately after leaving the village. Kakashi is a veteran ninja, and Yuzuki Yugan also specializes in physical skills and swordsmanship, so he has relatively good physical strength. In the past, Uchiha Xiyan's physical skills were weak, and he would definitely be held back in this operation. But since Uchiha Xiyan practiced the thunder armor, although it was only the first stage, it was necessary to upgrade Uchiha Xiyan's taijutsu to the Jounin level. Therefore, during this journey, Uchiha Xiyan was relatively relaxed. When he encountered a place that pleased his eyes, he could also use the Takamagara eye technique to mark a spatial mark. Since the three of them all wore ANBU masks, as long as Uchiha Xiyan was careful, Kakashi and Yuzuki Yugan would not discover that he had opened the Mangekyo Sharingan and was secretly marking things. Due to the urgency of the mission, the three of them were on their way in a hurry, so it only took them 3 days to arrive at Choin village in the country of grass. After arriving at Choin village, the three of them did not go directly to negotiate with the leader of the village. Instead, they lurked in secretly to inquire about the situation. Since Kusugakure is a small ninja village and does not have its own medical ninja like Konoha village, the mother and daughter of Kagakure who can quickly restore chakra and injuries are particularly important. They believe that Kusugakure, the leader of the village, would not hand over Xiang Phosphorus and her daughter to them easily. Although they can negotiate, they should only negotiate after confirming that they can ensure that they can bring their mission goals back. Otherwise, if they negotiate rashly, they will have no choice but to alert the enemy and have their target hidden. The three Kakashi people do not want to use force to suppress others, or use force to solve problems, because this will not only be detrimental to the mother and daughter, but will also push the Kingdom of Grass to the Iwagakure village of the Kingdom of Earth. So the best way now is to secretly take the mother and daughter away without alerting anyone, so that even if the mother and daughter are found in Konoha village in the future, the matter will not make a big fuss. Kakashi and the others waited outside the village of Kusugakure after dark. Kakashi asked the two to wait first, and he used a combination of transformation and camouflage invisibility techniques alternately, and slowly moved toward Kusugakure. The village lurks in. Camouflage invisibility is an invisibility technique that the ninjas of Iwagakure are good at. Whether it is Kakashi, Uchiha Obito, or early Naruto and Sasuke, they have all suffered from it. It is also one of the relatively high-profile invisibility techniques. Kakashi used the Sharingan to get the title of Copy Ninja, so it's not surprising that he knows this kind of invisibility. In fact, Uchiha Xiyan also knows this camouflage invisibility technique, but the risk of being exposed alone is relatively small, so Uchiha Xiyan did not compete with Kakashi. This is why Kakashi bullies Kusugakure as a small ninja village. It doesn't even have medical ninjas, let alone sealing techniques and barrier techniques. It may not even have many sensing ninjas. If it were a big village, Kakashi would never sneak in like that. Uchiha Okayama and Yuzuki Yugan watched Kakashi sneak in and waited patiently. Neither of them spoke. After all, they were near the village, so it was better to be careful. Uchiha Xiyan was in a bored daze, thinking in his mind who would be better to copy in the next blood succession limit, the physical bloodline of the Uzumaki clan. Once the Uzumaki mother and daughter are brought to Konoha village, and the third Hokage arranges for Uzumaki Naruto and the mother and daughter to be alone with him, they will probably be able to get a good bloodline of the Uzumaki clan. Then there is the Hyuga clan's blood-limited Byakugan. The one that the Hyuga clan has separated is not good enough and has defects, blind spots in sight. We still need to copy the clan's Byakugan and see if we can secretly copy the Hyuga and Hatsuashi as the patriarch of the Hyuga clan. The blood purity should be good. While Uchiha Xiaoshan was thinking wildly, Yuzuki Yugan secretly looked at Uchiha Xiaoshan's handsome profile from the side. Through the 2 days of contact with Uchiha Xiaoshan, Yuzuki Yugan found that Uchiha Xiaoshan was different from the Uchiha clan she had contacted before, or the ninjas of the powerful ninja clan. Other ninjas who came from wealthy ninja families had a domineering arrogance, as if they were superior to others, and they also gave priority to them in everything, looking down on ninjas like them who were from small families and common people. Even if there is something hidden, Maoyue Xiyan with a keen sense can still vaguely detect it. But the Uchiha Choshan she came into contact with could not feel this arrogance at all. Moreover, there is not much particularity in traveling and eating, therefore, Yuzuki Yugan couldn't dislike Uchiha Xiaoshan, and with her keen senses, she could feel a warm feeling on Uchiha Xiaoshan's body, which made her feel like she wanted to get close to him without knowing it. Therefore, Yuzuki Yuga would secretly look at him when he was resting. After all, good-looking people are welcome everywhere, and Yuzuki Yuga had no reason to hate him. Uchiha Xiaoshan, looking at Uchiha Xiaoshan, Yuzuki Xiyan silently thought, looking at Uchiha Xiaoshan, he is only a few years older than her. I didn't expect him to be so strong at such a young age. People in Anbu basically know Uchiha Xiaoshan's mustache. Susanoo who kills Danzo with a single blow. At his age, he should be getting married soon, right? I don't know if the Uchiha clan allows or not to marry someone from outside the clan. Thinking of this, Yuzuki Xiyan felt a little embarrassed and blushed. However, it is human nature to love the strong. It is not surprising, let alone a person like Uchiha Okayama who has both good looks and strength, and a very good personality. Well, it is reasonable to cause Maoyue Xiyan's random thoughts. Time passed quietly amidst Uchiha Okayama's plans for the future blood succession limits and Yuzuki Yugao's random thoughts. When the time reached midnight and the entire Kusugikure village was quiet at night, Kakashi also completed the infiltration mission and secretly joined Uchiha Choshan and the others. Chapter 72 The Talents and Skills of the Whirlpool One Clan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 72 The Talents and Skills of the Uzumaki Clan. Uchiha Xiaoshan always has his Sharingan turned on, so Kakashi's camouflage invisibility technique is no different from a 100-watt light bulb in Uchiha Xiaoshan's eyes, so when Kakashi came back, Uchiha Okayama had already discovered him. In addition, Kakashi did not control the sound of his footsteps, and Yuzuki Yuga, who always maintained a certain degree of vigilance, also stopped acting crazy, and his expression seriously waiting for Kakashi to approach. After Kakashi made a few umbu gestures and confirmed that it was him, Kakashi came closer and joined Uchiha Choshan. In fact, in terms of strength, not to mention Kakashi Yuzuki and Yuga Yuzuki, Uchiha Choshan alone can almost fight against the entire Kusugikure village and destroy it. However, in this situation, the problem cannot be solved by strength alone. You have to ensure that the goal of this mission, the mother and daughter of Kosovo, are not killed by the angry ninjas of Kusugikure village, and the Iwagakure village of the Earth country next to them. The current relationship between various countries is relatively delicate, and we cannot give them an excuse to go to war with the country of fire. Therefore, it is safer to pick people up secretly. After Kakashi contacted the two of them, he introduced the situation in Kusugikure village, and marked the location of the target. Finally, with a bad expression, he talked about the situation of the Kosovo mother and daughter. I secretly used my Sharingan to carefully observe the situation of the two of them. The little girl was doing better, but her mother's chakra was almost exhausted by the ninjas from Kusugikure village. We must take action immediately, otherwise, the target of this mission will definitely die. Hearing Kakashi's words, Uchiha Choshan didn't say anything, but Yuzuki Yugan, who was listening next to him, rushed to ask, suck chakra. Can you still suck chakra? Is it the secret technique of Kusugikure village? Uchiha Xiaoshan looked at Yuzuki Xiyan with question marks on his face, smiled, and answered for Kakashi, our target this time is the people of the Uzumaki clan. The Uzumaki clan has always been our ally of Konoha village, but however, in the past few years, the Uzumaki clan was established in the country of Uzumaki and was destroyed, and the surviving members of the Uzumaki clan were displaced and scattered unknown where. A person from the Uzumaki clan in Kuzukure village should have a talent skill that is rare among the Uzumaki clan, called physical healing. This talent is very powerful. By letting others bite her skin, she can restore the health of the person who bit her. Chakra and injuries, of course, will also consume a certain amount of your own chakra. According to Kakashi, this member of the Uzumaki clan should have been treated as a humanoid drug by the people of Kuzukure village. They don't care about her life or death. Otherwise, she would not have reached this point. When Uchiha Xiaoshan finished speaking, Yuzuki Yugon next to him had little stars in his eyes. He couldn't help it, mainly because Uchiha Xiaoshan's serious look just now was so in line with the look of Yuzuki Yugon's dream lover. When Kakashi saw Yuzuki Xian's appearance, he held his forehead helplessly. He had no choice but to do it. Today's little girls are all pretty and like handsome ones, however, Uchiha Xiaoshan's explanation also opened Kakashi's eyes. He only vaguely knew something about it, and there was no detail about Uchiha Xiaoshan at all. Kakashi was silent for a while, and when no one spoke, he asked in a consultative tone, "What should we do now? This Uzumaki clan member is already very weak. If the people from Kuzukure village are sucked a few more times, he will definitely die, in which case our mission will fail." There is no way, even though Kakashi is nominally the team leader, Kakashi also wants to ask for one of Uchiha Xiaoshan's pieces. Not to mention that Uchiha Xiaoshan is now the deputy chief of the Uchiha clan, just the pair of Uchiha Xiaoshans. The Mangekyo Sharingan cannot be ignored by others. Uchiha Xiaoshan saw Kakashi's attitude and did not stand up to seize power. This time, as long as he can bring the mother and daughter back, he can do anything, so he said, "Captain Kakashi, you are the team leader, and you have experience rich, whatever you say, we will do." As for Maoyue Xiyan next to her, she was blinking her big eyes and acting as a decoration. She would do whatever the two seniors asked her to do, and she didn't have to worry about it anyway. Kakashi felt relieved when he saw that Uchiha Xiaoshan had no intention of taking the lead. After all, being strong is one thing, being able to complete the task perfectly is another. Kakashi did not expect that Uchiha Xiaoshan could still position himself correctly in the task despite being so strong, and he couldn't help but feel added some good feelings toward Uchiha Okayama. Kakashi coughed and continued, "The main task now is to rescue these two Uzumaki clan members and bring them back to Konoha village, so this is my arrangement. Uchiha Xiaoshan, you and I will sneak into Kuzukure village later. The time is right now. Let's discuss with these two Uzumaki clan members first to see if they are willing to go to Konoha village with us. If so, just leave together. If you don't want to, Uchiha Xiaoshan, you can use genjutsu to control them first, bring them out, and then slowly persuade them on the road." When Uchiha Xiaoshan heard Kakashi's arrangement, he looked at him with some differences. It seemed that Kakashi also knew some inside stories about the destruction of the Uzumaki kingdom. Otherwise, he wouldn't be worried about the Uzumaki clan's failure. "Follow them." After Kakashi finished talking about Uchiha Okayama's mission, he then said to Yuzuki Yugo, "Your mission is to make some traps on our way back and outside the village to prevent people from Kuzukure from following and chasing us. And then support us from the outside." When Kakashi said this, he paused and asked, "Do you understand? Do you have any other questions?" Seeing that both of them had no problems, Kakashi said loudly, "Okay, now, the mission begins." Then, Kakashi used the camouflage invisibility technique again. He glanced at Uchiha Kiwama and found that Uchiha Kiwama also used the camouflage invisibility technique. He couldn't help but there were some differences, but he didn't say anything and made a gesture to Uchiha Kiwama. Then he took the lead and sneaked into Choin village. Uchiha Xiaoshan saw Kakashi leading the way, so he followed quietly. Maoyue Xiyan was left here to prepare for leaving. Kakashi and Uchiha Okayama's infiltration went very smoothly. After all, Kakashi had already been here once before. In addition, the two Uzumaki clan members lived on the outskirts of the village, so this made their infiltration very difficult. Easy. Now, the main task is to persuade these two Uzumaki clan members to follow Kakashi and his party obediently. In this case, more than half of the task is completed. Chapter 73 Persuasion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Uchiha Okayama and Kakashi arrived at the residence of the mother and daughter, they did not care about politeness and went directly to the house without knocking on the door. Since there was only a frail man and a little girl in the house, he didn't notice anything wrong with the arrival of Uchiha Okayama and Kakashi. After Uchiha Okayama came to the house, he looked at the furnishings in the room. There were very few things in the room and it was very simple. It could barely accommodate people. It could be seen that the life of their mother and daughter here was actually very difficult. Their goal this time was to cuddle up with each other on a simple bed and fall asleep deeply. Uchiha Okayama opened his Sharingan and took a look. The little girl's condition was better, similar to that of a normal child. However, the mother holding her was in much worse physical condition. It was very similar to what Kakashi described. Chakra thin and extremely poor health. Even if the ninjas of Kusakure village no longer absorb chakra, I don't know how long it will take to maintain a healthy body. If they still absorb chakra, they will really not be far from death. Uchiha Okayama and Kakashi walked around the simple room and got a general understanding of the living conditions of the mother and daughter. After the two met, they exchanged tacit glances and looked at the person lying on the bed. Mother and daughter, Uchiha Okayama came to the bedside, stretched out his hand and gently patted Xianglan's mother on the shoulder, waking her up from her dream. Originally, the mother's body was weak, but as a result, the weaker her body became, the more she slept lightly. She was awakened by Uchiha Okayama's gentle pat on the shoulder, and looked at the intruder in front of her in panic. The eyes of the uninvited guest in her home were full of panic, but the hand holding her daughter became harder and harder, as if no matter what happened, they could not separate mother and daughter. Originally, Uchiha Okayama was a little unsure about the mother's persuasion, but after seeing the mother's performance, he felt relieved and knew that the purpose of his trip should be accomplished. When Uchiha Okayama saw Xianglian's mother looking at him in panic, he raised his already good-looking face 3 times, showing a gentle smile, acting more harmless, and spoke to Xianglian in a gentle tone. Mother Phosphorus said, "Hello, we are ninjas from Konoha village. We are here this time because we received intelligence that a mother and daughter from the Uzumaki clan are being treated unfairly in Kusakure village. Therefore, Lord Hokage sent us to take care of you. Take him back to Konoha village secretly." Kairu's mother was a little panicked at first, but after hearing that the person in front of her was from Konoha village, she calmed down. After Uchiha Okayama finished speaking, Kairu's mother's face had completely cooled down, and her hands were still tight. Holding the sleeping Xianglian in his arms, he said coldly, "Don't bother the ninjas of Konoha village. It's good for us to stay in Kusakure village. We don't need to move to Konoha village. We, the Uzumaki clan, don't have to worry about the third Hokage. Please trouble this man from Konoha village. Ninja-sama, don't break into other people's houses without permission in the future and make others embarrassed." After saying that, she stopped looking at Uchiha Okayama and instead looked at the wall next to her. It seemed that in her eyes, the wall in front of her was much more attractive than Uchiha Okayama. When Uchiha Okayama saw the reaction of his mother, he felt as expected. When the Uzumaki country was destroyed, Konoha village's performance was indeed unsatisfactory. It also delayed the Uzumaki clan's request for help, which led to the Uzumaki country being destroyed. To say that the survivors of the Uzumaki clan had no respect for the Leaf Village. Without hostility, that would be impossible. The performance of Konoha village, in the eyes of the Uzumaki clan, is a shameless betrayal. How can they have a good attitude towards the betrayer? This is why Uzumaki Korei, the mother of Xianglan, is very weak now. Otherwise, even if she has not kicked them out and scolded them bloody, this is also the reason why there is no trace of the survivors of the Uzumaki clan in the country of fire. Even if they live a life of hunger and precarity in other countries, they are not willing to go to the country of fire and rely on the breath of the Leaf Village to live. Uchiha Okayama frowned in distress. He actually felt compassion. He didn't want the person in front of him to die so miserably, as if he was eaten alive by others. Otherwise, it wouldn't be difficult to just use an illusion to bring her daughter with her. However, Uchiha Okayama is not the kind of person who is good at persuasion. He will just open the skylight and speak frankly. If the persuasion cannot be successful, it will be more troublesome and directly use the Sharingan to hypnotize the mother and daughter away. Uchiha Xiyan pointed to the child she had been holding and said to Xiangling, "Before we came, we had already collected intelligence and knew the situation of you and your child." She looked at the teeth marks on Uzumaki Korai's body with some pity. "You should be aware of your current situation. If this continues, you will die soon. Even if you don't cherish your own life, then as a mother, you should also think about your daughter." Uchiha Xiyan said, and then looked at the sleeping Xiao Xianlan in her arms. He stretched out his hand and pulled the corners of Xiao Xianlan's clothes, revealing several clear teeth marks. These teeth marks were still there when he was still a little girl. The fragrant phosphorus looked so shocking. "Do you want your daughter to die in such a miserable way like you? You know, you are alive now and can protect her from wind and rain. If you die, what will greet her is not only the pain of losing her mother, but also the pain of losing her mother. With the treatment you left behind. According to the next development, she will not be able to grow up, and will follow in your footsteps and die in a life worse than death." Uzumaki Korai was not a fool. After hearing Uchiha Okayama's description, she knew that what he said was very likely to happen. Her face, which was originally cold, became a little more struggling. When she looked at her daughter, her eyes were full of struggle and hesitation. Seeing Uzumaki Karen showing signs of hesitation, Uchiha Xiyan knew there was something going on. Then he said, "If you come to Konoha with your daughter, I guarantee that you will not be treated unfairly. You can also hide your surname and become an ordinary civilian, and your daughter can grow up healthily. It won't be like here, living in fear all day long." Uchiha Xiyan paused to let Uzumaki Karen digest what he said, and then asked, "Do you know a person named Uzumaki Shinkuna?" That when Uzumaki Korai heard the name mentioned by Uchiha Okayama, she raised her head sharply. "Do you know Shinkuna? How is she now? Is she doing well?" That there were not many members of the Uzumaki clan, not to mention that Uzumaki Shinkuna and she were of the same age. Uchiha Xiyan guessed that they might not only know each other, but they might also be very familiar with each other, and they were friends who grew up and played together. Chapter 74 Poor Kakashi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Uchiha Okayama guessed well. Uzumaki Shinkuna and Uzumaki Karen did grow up together. Before the Uzumaki kingdom was destroyed, both of them were direct descendants of the Uzumaki clan. The fact that Uzumaki Shinkuna can be chosen as the Jinchuriki of the Ninetales shows that her bloodline from the Uzumaki clan is very pure. Like Uzumaki Mito, the wife of the first Hokage Senju Hashirama, she is a direct bloodline of the Uzumaki clan, and Uzumaki Korai can possess a talent skill that is rarely possessed by the Uzumaki clan, physical healing, and even the daughter she gave birth to, Korai, has physical healing in Kagura's heart's eye. To say that she is not a direct bloodline member of the Uzumaki clan, then no one is. As for why it fell to this point, it can only be said that it was fate. If a princess does not have her own country and family, she is not a princess. Facing Uzumaki Karen's expectant gaze, Uchiha Xiyan sighed silently in his heart. Although he couldn't bear it, he still told her the truth. Uzumaki Shinkuna-senpai is the jonin of our Konoha village, but in the past few years, she and her husband have sacrificed their lives to save Konoha village. Uchiha Xiaoshan saw Uzumaki Karen's eyes dimming again, and then added. However, Uzumaki Shinkuna left behind a son named Uzumaki Naruto, but his situation is not very good. After all, Naruto has not had his parents to take care of him since he was a child, and now he is an orphan without anyone to care for him. Uchiha Xiaoshan paused, looked into Uzumaki Karen's eyes and said, "If you move to Konoha village, you can also take care of him." After Uzumaki Karen heard Uchiha Xiaoshan's words, she fell into silence. Sometimes she looked at her daughter, and sometimes she looked at the wall. She didn't know what she was thinking, but what she could know was that her heart should be shaking violently. Struggle and hesitate. After waiting for about a cup of tea, Uzumaki Korai let out a long sigh of relief, as if she had made some kind of decision, raised her head, and looked at Uchiha Xiyan with bright eyes. "Okay, I promise you, I will take my daughter back to Konoha with you. But even if I go to Konoha, I am just an ordinary civilian. As for what my daughter will do in the future, whether she will be a civilian or a ninja, we, mother and daughter, will wait for once we get to Konoha village and stabilize, we can then make plans." Uchiha Okayama was also very happy when he saw Uzumaki Karen agreeing. After all, he did not use force and only moved his mouth to accomplish his goal this time, which also gave him a sense of accomplishment. This was also the second woman whose tragic fate was changed through his efforts, Uchiha Okayama, and the first one was Uchiha Mikoto. At this time, Uchiha Xiyan keenly felt that a group of people were quietly gathering around the house. Although they did not make any movement, Uchiha Xiyan still sensed that something was wrong. Uchiha Xiyan frowned. Originally, this mission was almost completed, but unexpectedly, something unexpected happened at the end. If it was just him and Kakashi, he could easily break through the siege and ensure that the people surrounding him would not catch a single flaw. However, there was still a target for this mission in the room, and he had already succeeded in persuading him. After their mother and daughter were safely brought to Konoha village, he had completed the mission, but if they take their mother and daughter with them when they break out, the number of people who break out will increase significantly, and the safety of their mother and daughter cannot be guaranteed. Thinking of this, Uchiha Xiyan secretly had a plan. He first gave Kakashi a gesture to tell him that something unexpected had happened, and then he formed a seal and used multiple shadow clones. 2 clones appeared, and then 2 clones appeared. The clones used the transformation technique again, and turned into 2 well-packed ninjas wearing IWA ninja costumes. Under the doubtful eyes of Kakashi and others, the 2 transformed IWA ninjas opened the door of the house, walked out openly, and closed the door behind them. The 2 of them stood at the door, and one of them said loudly, "Mouse hiding in the dark, stop hiding. The uncles have already discovered you. The people in your Chaoin village are all hiding in the gutter." Hearing this man's shouting, the people hiding in the surrounding Chaoin village knew that they had been exposed, so they stopped hiding. All the rustling people came out and stood around the house. Uchiha Xiyan's clone glanced around and saw that there must be 30 or 50 people around. When the people outside came out and surrounded the house, Kakashi glanced at Uchiha Xiyan in surprise. As a result, he met Uchiha Xiyan's eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Kakashi immediately felt dizzy. He felt bad, secretly screaming in his heart. He did not expect that Uchiha Xiyan would take action against him at this time. After all, now is the time when he is surrounded by enemies. They should unite together, cooperate with each other, and help each other to survive. This difficulty, Uchiha Xiyan took advantage of Kakashi being dizzy by his own genjutsu, and knocked Kakashi unconscious with a knife. In fact, with Uchiha Okayama's genjutsu skills, he can completely defeat Kakashi, but the genjutsu competition involves mental strength. If one of them can't do it well, or Kakashi resists too fiercely, it will easily leave Kakashi with mental trauma. Therefore, Uchiha Xiyan chose to use genjutsu to make Kakashi somewhat trance-like, and then used physical therapy to send Kakashi into sleep, believing that Kakashi would have a dream that would be beneficial to his physical and mental health. After Uchiha Xiyan knocked Kakashi unconscious, he then used a genjutsu on Uzumaki Karen who had not yet reacted, and sent her into sleep. Since Uzumaki Korai's mental power was far different from Uchiha Xiyan's, and her physical body was even more pitifully weak, Uchiha Xiyan could easily knock her out without hurting her. Then Uchiha Xiyan didn't care about the chirping outside the door. He held Kakashi in one hand and Uzumaki Korai and Kokoro in the other. He glanced around the room and saw that there was nothing he needed to bring, so he used it directly. The pupil technique, Takamagara, was directly teleported into the newly built villa on the island, leaving everyone in Kyuzuken village with 2 shadow clones and an empty room. Uchiha Okayama's shadow clone sensed that the main body had left, and he breathed a sigh of relief in his heart, and then let himself go, relying on his current appearance as an IWA nin, and began to improve his acting skills. The shadow clone held his hands in front of his chest, without any defense, as if he was facing some insignificant people. His tone was arrogant with some arrogance, and he said loudly, You bastards of Kusagakure village, let me tell you Grandpa Iwa Ninja, how did you find out that we had infiltrated? Grandpa's camouflage invisibility technique is famous even in the village. Even Lord Tsuchikage praised it. Just because you are so young in the small Chaoin village, it is impossible to find the uncle easily. Chapter 75 Copying the Divine Power of I Technique. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing the Iwa ninja who was still extremely arrogant and uttering arrogant words despite being surrounded, the ninjas of Kusagakure village who were surrounding him also gritted their teeth in anger. One of the young ninjas surrounding him could no longer bear the arrogance in front of him. He stood up and said sarcastically, "No matter how powerful your camouflage invisibility technique is, you can't escape the secret technique of our grass-hidden village. As long as you touch if you go to the grass around our Kusanagi village, you will be sensed by us. We have easily cracked the bullshit ninjutsu. If we hadn't gathered people and quietly surrounded this place, we would have captured you long ago." There was a middle-aged man who looked like a leader next to him. When the young man stood up, he just wanted to stop him from telling the information. But then he thought about it. People in these villages basically knew that as long as someone inquired carefully, they could easily he asked the young man to tell him, which could be used as a deterrent, so he no longer had the urge to stop him. After the young man from Chaoin village finished speaking, the leader of Chaoin village also stood up and asked, "I don't know what happened to the two people from Yenin village who sneaked into our village late at night." What's the point? That the shadow clone of Uchiha Okayama was already very happy when he heard the words of the young ninja from Kusagakure village. He didn't expect him to be so teasing and easily tell the reason why they were exposed. Then hearing the question from the leader of Kusagakure village, Uchiha Xiyan thought about it again and asked in a questioning tone. "You still want to question our Iwagakure village? Why have we not caused trouble for you? Do you know who the people living in this house are? They are fugitives left over from the Uzumaki clan of the Uzumaki country that was destroyed. Your Kusagakure village, why did you take them in? Are you dissatisfied with our big countries, or do you want to follow in the footsteps of the Whirlpool country and taste the feeling of being destroyed?" Of course, the leader of Kusagakure village knows the identities of Uzumaki Karen and the others. After all, the Uzumaki clan's iconic red hair is too conspicuous, and their special medical methods represent their specialness. It's just that there are no medical ninjas in Kusagakure village. Even if there are, the therapeutic effect is not as good as that of the Uzumaki clan woman. Therefore, the leader of Kusagakure village simply regards her as a humanoid drug with significant therapeutic effects, waiting for her to die one day. Okay, just throw it away. It's just that the leader of Kusagakure village didn't expect that such a trivial matter would be discovered by the people of Iwa Ninja village. He also knew that the people of the Uzumaki clan were not welcomed by these big countries. After all, when the country of Uzumaki was destroyed, there was quite a commotion, but he did not expect that the people of Iwa Ninja village would still hold on to them and take them out. Talk about things, he also felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. You big countries swallowed up the kingdom of Whirlpool directly back then and ate a lot of meat. Now you don't even leave us any soup, and while Uchiha Xiaoshan's shadow clone was entangled with everyone in Kusagakure village, Uchiha Xiaoshan's real body had already brought these people who had been knocked unconscious by him to the villa on Takamagara Island. Uchiha Xiaoshan first threw Kakashi to the ground, and then carefully placed Uzumaki Karen and his daughter on the bed. After confirming that neither mother nor daughter showed any signs of waking up, they carried Kakashi to another room. Originally, Uchiha Xiaoshan already possessed the space pupil technique, so he was not very eager for the divine power of Kakashi and Uchiha Obito. However, by chance, in order to ensure the safety of Uzumaki Korei and his daughter, they had to be beaten. Take away the halo. Now that Kakashi has been knocked unconscious, let's copy his pupil power, so that Kakashi will not be wary of him in the future and it will be difficult to attack him. Uchiha Okayama first placed Kakashi on the floor, face up. Then he directly took off the forehead protector covering his left eye, and then gently opened Kakashi's left eyelid, revealing his Sharingan. When Uchiha Xiaoshan saw Kakashi's 3 Magatama Sharingan that was still open when he was unconscious, the corner of his mouth twitched. If it goes on like this, with the Sharingan being such a big mana user, no wonder Kakashi is like this. a good genius is wasted like this. Uchiha Xiyan did not hesitate, took a deep breath, and then opened his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, faced Kakashi's 3 Magatama Sharingan, and then slowly released some pupil power, slowly but and continued to input into Kakashi's Sharingan. Although Kakashi is still in a coma, his Sharingan began to rotate under the stimulation of Uchiha Xiyan. With the continuous stimulation of Uchiha Xiyan, the 3 Magatama Sharingan rotated faster and faster. The faster it goes, the more it seems to have exceeded a certain limit. The 3 Magatama Sharingan spinning faster and faster are connected at the end, and finally it turns into the shape of a large triangular windmill, shining brightly. Uchiha Xiyan quietly admired the exquisite kaleidoscope Sharingan in front of him for a while. This Sharingan is the only space-based kaleidoscope Sharingan other than Uchiha Xiyan. Among many Sharingan, it is also a treasure. Uchiha Xiyan estimated that he would not have many opportunities to appreciate this Sharingan in the future. Now that he had the opportunity, of course he should appreciate it more. Uchiha Xiyan didn't waste any more time. Now that Yuzuki Yugan was still waiting for them outside Kuzukure village, she couldn't wait any longer. After Uchiha Xiyan admired Kakashi's Sharingan, he directly activated his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and began to copy the pupil technique hidden deep in the Sharingan in front of him. Kamui, it should be said that it is indeed a Sharingan that contains the power of the divine eye. Uchiha Xiyan can feel that the Sharingan in front of him is the Mangekyo Sharingan with the greatest potential and foundation he has ever seen. Since Uchiha Xiyan's Sharingan was upgraded to the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, this was the first time he encountered such a difficult-to-replicate pupil technique. Uchiha Xiyan waited for a long time before the system belatedly received an improvement. Congratulations to the host for successfully copying the pupil technique, Shinwei. The system is learning and digesting it, and it is expected to be available for use in 22 hours. Uchiha Xiyan breathed a sigh of relief when he heard the system's upgrade sound. This divine power space pupil technique is really unexpectedly profound. After waiting for such a long time, I thought I would fail to copy it, but in the end I succeeded. Uchiha Xiyan doubted how Uchiha Obito could awaken such a powerful pupil technique at that time. It is estimated that the Sharingan evolved into the Mangekyo Sharingan at that time. When the pupil technique was awakened, it was because it was composed of Uchiha Obito and Kaka. Only with the support of the two geniuses in the West and the outburst of their negative emotions did this rare pair of spatial pupil skills appear in the world. Uchiha Xiyan breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he knocked Kakashi unconscious and brought him into the space. Otherwise, if something happened after such a long time, he would not regret it. Chapter 76 Uchiha Runs Away. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 76, Uchiha runs away from hills and mountains. The leader of Kuzugakure village looked at the IWA ninja standing at the door of the house, mouthing arrogant words. He could no longer bear it. He knew that if these two IWA ninjas were allowed to run away today, countless people from the IWA ninja village would be waiting for them. Clear trouble. The leader of Chaoin village secretly glanced at a stout subordinate, signaling him to kill the person in front of him, and this person was not without scheming. After receiving the instructions from the leader, he led the people around him to the front and shouted, "You two guys invaded our Chaoin village without permission and don't know what bad things you want to do. If you still dare to question us, I advise you to surrender immediately, so that we in Kuzugakure village can consider saving your lives and let the people from IWA Ninja village come to pick you up." Uchiha Okayama's shadow clone had not yet had enough of acting addiction. When he heard the doubts and persuasion from the people of Kuzugakure in front of him, he directly picked up the weapon and shouted, "You bunch of bastards of Kuzugakure are still here. Dare to take action? I tell you, there are only rock ninjas who died in battle, and no cowards who surrendered. Come on." As he said that, he raised his weapon, as if he wanted to rush over and fight for his life, but in fact, his feet did not even move. The short and stocky ninja in Kuzugakure village saw that the IWA ninja in front of him was trying his best, and he was in a dilemma. He didn't know whether he should go up or not. "Go ahead." The person in front of him was from IWA ninja village, one of the 5 major countries. If he really killed, I don't know what the consequences will be if I kill them, but if I don't do it, I will really lose my face. Facing such crazy people, I don't dare to do anything, and I won't have to hang out in the village in the future. The stocky ninja thought of the leader's order, gritted his teeth, raised the weapon in his hand, and shouted, "Even if you are a ninja from the Iwa ninja village, you are still a spy who broke into our village without permission, and our Kusugakure village is not afraid of trouble. People, kill." As he said that, he took the lead and rushed towards the Iwa ninja in front of him with his weapon. Just when the stocky ninja was about to cut down the rock ninja with his weapon, the stocky ninja suddenly noticed that the expression on the face of the person in front of him suddenly became calm, and there was no longer the arrogance and impending look. He was frightened by being chopped, but there was a hint of joking in his eyes, and the corners of his mouth were slightly raised. Seeing the appearance of this Iwa ninja, the stocky ninja couldn't help but feel a little bit in his heart. Although he didn't know what he did wrong, he felt that he had been deceived. At this moment, the weapon in his hand also hit the rock ninja's body. There was no blood splashing or bloody flesh. The 2 Iwa ninja standing at the door of the house turned into a puff of white smoke and disappeared. The ninjas of Kusugakure village who were densely surrounding the house disappeared immediately when they saw the Iwa ninja in front of them, and the scene immediately became quiet. Everyone present was thinking in their hearts, "Didn't we just speak arrogantly and unscrupulously? Where are the people? Aren't there only Iwa ninjas who died in the battle? Where are the people?" The scene was a little embarrassing for a while. The leader of Chaoyin village standing next to him had a livid face. If he hadn't realized that he had been tricked at this time, he would not be worthy of being a leader. He reacted immediately and shouted, "Don't be stunned. Come into the house and take a look. Don't let them escape." The people next to him also suddenly realized, leaving some people to guard, while the rest quickly entered the house to search. The leader of Chaoyin village also knew that if he searched at this time, it would be unlikely to find anything, but he still had a question in his mind. How did they escape when they were surrounded? I don't know when this mystery will be solved. And just when Uchiha Xiaoshan's shadow clone disappeared, Uchiha Xiaoshan had just copied the divine power of Kakashi's Sharingan. When Uchiha Xiaoshan got the memory of the shadow clone, he also had a dark look on his face. He didn't expect that after letting himself go, he would become a drama queen, and he was still very good at playing. However, after knowing that his shadow clone was broken, Uchiha Xiaoshan knew that he had to hurry up and quickly go to join Uzuki Yugan, otherwise this little girl would be killed by the ninjas of Kusugakure village who had been tricked by him. I encountered him, and I don't know if the little girl can cope with it. Uchiha Xiaoshan felt his Sharingan, and he could feel that he had copied Kakashi's divine power this time, and had received great benefits. Although it was impossible to evolve his Sharingan all at once, it's also a big step forward. Uchiha Xiaoshan first helped Kakashi put on his forehead protector and covered his left eye. Of course, he also took off Kakashi's mask and took a look at his true appearance. He was indeed quite handsome. Almost catching up with him, after Uchiha Xiaoshan had packed up Kakashi, he still carried him and returned to the room where Uzumaki Korei and his daughter were staying. He picked them up and took a look around to make sure that nothing was missing. The space mark left near Chaoyin village quietly returned. After Uchiha Xiaoshan brought them back, he glanced around and made sure that no one was there, then rushed towards the place agreed with Uzuki Xiyan. You must quickly meet up with Woyuki Xiyan and run away quickly, otherwise, Chaoyin village will definitely organize people to search the surrounding areas as long as they are not stupid. Since I knocked Kakashi unconscious, it was better to escape as soon as I lost one fighting force and one more burden. Anyway, my mission this time has been completed. By the way, I also wrote Kakashi's The Ring Eye technique was also copied, which was an unexpected surprise. Uchiha Xiaoshan took 3 people and ran to the appointment with Uzuki Yugan without any burden. After meeting Uzuki Yugan and confirming their identities, Uchiha Xiaoshan didn't talk much. He just told Uzuki Kariai's mother the girl was handed over to Uzuki Yugao, and he put Kakashi on his back. Uchiha Okayama and Uzuki Yugao ran at full speed away from Kusugakure village. Since Uchiha Okayama has practiced thunder armor, his physical fitness is very good, and Uzuki Yugao has been practicing swordsmanship all year round, so his physical strength is also very good. so the two of them carried Kakashi and the others on their backs without feeling any pressure. After the two of them ran for several hours and changed directions several times along the way, and after confirming that there was no one following them, they found a secret place and stopped to rest. After Kakashi and Uzumaki Korei and their daughter were settled down, during this period, Korei woke up once and was coaxed to sleep by Uchiha Okayama's illusion. Yuzuki Yugao asked about the situation of Uchiha Okayama's mission and Kakayama Cassie's condition. Uchiha Xiaoshan lit a fire and told her the matter. Of course, he did not tell her in detail about the Gao Tianyuan space and who knocked Kakashi unconscious. Chapter 77 Kakashi's Sharingan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 77 Kakashi's Sharingan. The bonfire was burning in the open space. After Uchiha Xiaoshan and Yuzuki Yuga settled Kakashi and others, they sat aside to rest. After all, they had carried Kakashi and the others on their backs for several hours. Even if you are in good physical condition, you still feel a little tired. After the two of them rested for a while, Kakashi, who was placed next to him, finally woke up from his coma. Kakashi was placed next to the campfire by Uchiha Okayama, with a blanket placed under him. When Kakashi woke up, he groaned, covered his neck with his hands, and got up from the ground in pain. Just as Kakashi slowly got up from the ground, his brain finally recalled what happened before he fell into coma. Kakashi quickly put down the hand covering his neck, jumped up quickly, took out a kunai from his ninja bag, and looked at the surrounding environment with vigilance. The surrounding environment surprised Kakashi. He thought that even if he was not in the prison of Kusagakure village, he would be tied tightly to an inaccessible place by Uchiha Xiaoshan. After all, it was Uchiha Xiaoshan who knocked him unconscious. Kakashi suspected that Uchiha Xiaoshan might betray Konoha village and become a rebel ninja. And his end will not be easy. As a member of the Hokage family, no matter where he is, he has great value, whether it is the intelligence and ninjutsu in his mind, or his own status in Konoha village. When Kakashi saw the surrounding environment clearly, he couldn't help but be stunned. There were no enemies around, and he was not locked up or restricted in his personal freedom. There were only the deserted environment around them and Uchiha Okayama and Yuzuki Yugugo looking at him on the other side of the bonfire. Not far away from them, mother and daughter Uzumaki Korei were resting quietly. However, Kakashi did not relax his vigilance. He held a kunai in his hand and looked warily at Uchiha Xiaoshan sitting on the other side. He still remembered that the person in front of him knocked him out while he was not paying attention. So in his opinion, Uchiha Xiaoshan is his enemy, and he has reason to suspect that Uchiha Xiaoshan has betrayed Konoha village. Uchiha Xiaoshan saw Kakashi's attitude, and before he could question him, he put down the fire stick in his hand and stood up, patting the dirt on his butt without giving Kakashi a chance to speak. He walked directly to the woods on the side and said, "Kakashi-senpai, come with me. I have something to tell you." Then he turned to Yuzuki Xiyan and told him, "Xiyan, Kakashi-senpai and I will come as soon as we go. You should keep an eye on them, mother and daughter, and be alert." Yuzuki Xiyan also felt that something was wrong in the atmosphere. Kakashi-senpai's reaction was too strange. She knew that something must have happened between Uchiha Xiaoshan and Kakashi, but she didn't know. However, she still believed in the two seniors, so she nodded obediently to express her understanding. Kakashi watched Uchiha Xiaoshan walking towards the woods without any precautions. He hesitated for a moment and followed Uchiha Xiaoshan, but he didn't follow too closely and kept a safe distance. Uchiha Xiaoshan and Kakashi came to the woods one after another. Uchiha Xiaoshan stopped in a place where there was no one, then turned around and looked at the people following him, holding a kunai in his hand and looking warily. Holding his Kakashi, the two faced each other from a distance, and Uchiha Xiaoshan spoke first. "Kakashi-senpai, first of all, I want to apologize to you. I'm sorry that I knocked you unconscious without your consent." Uchiha Xiaoshan said and bowed slightly to Kakashi. Kakashi saw Uchiha Xiaoshan's behavior, looked at him quietly, and suddenly said, "Uchiha Xiaoshan, I need an explanation. I can't accept a teammate and partner who knocked me out for no reason." When Uchiha Xiaoshan heard Kakashi's words, he knew that there was still room for relaxation, so he said to Kakashi sincerely, Kakashi-senpai, you also know the environment we faced at that time. There were at least 10 people around us. 40 or 50 people are surrounding us. I would like to ask, Senior, if there is a way to escape unscathed with the mission goal under the circumstances. Kakashi was silent for a moment after hearing Uchiha Okayama's words, and shook his head. Under the circumstances at that time, even if I tried my best, there was no guarantee that I would be able to escape unscathed, let alone a mission target with a weak body. 2 people. When Uchiha Okayama heard Kakashi's words, he said, "You can't, but I can." Then he said sincerely to Kakashi, "Senior Kakashi, I had no choice but to do so. My secret technique is closely related to the Uchiha clan. If the information about my secret technique is leaked, our Uchiha clan will be in trouble. There are a lot of risks, so in order to use secret techniques to take you out, I knocked you out." In fact, Uchiha Okayama was also fooling Kakashi. With his chakra capacity and various ninjutsu he mastered, even without the pupil technique and Susanoo, he was able to bring Uzumaki Karen with him in the situation just now. Mother, daughter and Kakashi escaped intact. It's just that the noise caused by this is a bit loud, and some unimportant trump cards will be exposed. What's more, why use complicated methods when there are simple ways? Moreover, he took the opportunity to knock Kakashi unconscious and copied his power of eye magic, which was a win-win situation. Kakashi was a little helpless when he heard Uchiha Okayama's reasons. He also knew that everything was mission-oriented, but knocking him out this time made him very uncomfortable. Uchiha Okayama saw that he had convinced Kakashi and knew that he would also give him some sweet dates, so he continued, "Kakashi-senpai, I just found something bad for you when you were in a coma. Do you want to listen?" Kakashi is also a smart man. After hearing what Uchiha Okayama said, he was silent for a moment and said in a harsh voice, "Is it about the Sharingan in my left eye?" Uchiha Okayama nodded. It seems that Senior Kakashi also felt it. "When you were unconscious, I checked your Sharingan. Don't get me wrong. Since our Uchiha clan has already put this Sharingan into, I gave you the Sharingan, so you won't do anything wrong again. I was just curious, so I checked it briefly." Kakashi nodded, feeling a little depressed. After all, this Sharingan was a gift given to him by Uchiha Obito, and his teammate, Uchiha Obito, was buried on the battlefield forever. Of course, this is what Kakashi thinks. Seeing that Kakashi didn't speak, Uchiha Okayama continued, "When I checked your Sharingan, I found that even if you were unconscious, the Sharingan was not closed. This may be because of your body. The reason why the Sharingan cannot be closed is because there is no bloodline of the Uchiha clan." Uchiha Okayama paused, and then said, "While I was checking, I also discovered something that surprised me. If this matter is known to other members of the Uchiha clan, I don't know how big of a fuss it will cause." Chapter 78 Kakashi's Choice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 78 Kakashi's Choice. Uchiha Okayama thought about it and decided to tell Kakashi that the Sharingan owned by Kakashi was the Mangekyo Sharingan, because even if he didn't tell him, in a few years, when this Sharingan and the Mangekyo Sharingan, when Kakashi is almost ready, Kakashi will also discover the secret of this Sharingan. He wanted to see if Kakashi had discovered the secret of the Sharingan a few years in advance. He was looking forward to the subsequent plot. Anyway, the world had already made him a mess, and this was not bad. Moreover, I wonder if Kakashi can master the Sharingan's pupil technique, Kamui, if he can pull Uchiha Obito out from behind the scenes in advance. Uchiha Okayama thought of this and was full of expectations for future changes. Then, Uchiha Okayama said to Kakashi seriously, "Kakashi-senpai, you must also feel that the Sharingan in you may be because you do not have Uchiha blood, so it cannot be turned off. It consumes your chakra all the time, which indirectly causes your strength to increase very slowly, and also makes your chakra amount not much. When you encounter more difficult enemies, sometimes, you will be very passive." After Uchiha Okayama finished speaking, he looked straight at Kakashi. "If you still insist on keeping this Sharingan, it will have a great impact on your future. In the future, you will become a shadow-level strongman. The probability of being successful will be very low, and even if you enter the shadow level, you will still be at the bottom. Kakashi heard Uchiha Choshan's words and closed his eyes in pain. Even though he was ready, facing this cruel reality, it was still a little hard to accept. After all, becoming a strong man is the key to the ninja world. It is something that everyone longs for and pursues, and he has to make a choice here, whether to keep Uchiha Obito's relics and be unable to improve his strength, or to give up this Sharingan and pick up the flag that he is good at again. The art of wooden swords has returned to the powerful path of pursuing strength. Kakashi was silent for a while, raised his hand to cover his Sharingan, and said in a hoarse but firm voice, "I chose to keep the Sharingan that Obito left for me. I don't believe it. Just relying on this Sharingan will prevent me from improving my strength in the future. Even if I cannot improve and cut off my path to becoming stronger, I will not regret it." Uchiha Xiaoshan knew that Kakashi would choose this path. He nodded with satisfaction and said with a smile in his tone, "I knew you would choose this path. In fact, it is not so absolute. This riding the chakra is just a stepping stone for you to become stronger, not a roadblock. As long as you cheer up and stop being decadent, you can still defeat it." Then, Uchiha Choshan's face also became serious. "Then, I will tell you the biggest secret of this Sharingan now. It is possible that you will use this secret to find a path that suits you and become stronger again. Stand up." Since Uchiha Xiaoshan saw that Kakashi's face had become serious, he opened his Mangekyo Sharingan towards Kakashi, of course. It was just opened and not used on Kakashi. Kakashi saw Uchiha Choshan open his Mangekyo Sharingan again. His body was alert, but he remembered that he was knocked down by a genjutsu of his Mangekyo Sharingan before, and he quickly turned his face to something else. Direction, the whole person immediately became nervous, holding a kunai in his hand and making a defensive posture. Seeing Kakashi's reaction, Uchiha Choshan chuckled and comforted him in a soft voice, "Kakashi-senpai, don't be nervous. I really have no ill intentions towards you. If I want to do anything to you, you've long since had no chance to stand here." Of course Kakashi knew that what Uchiha Kiwama said was right, but he couldn't accept that he had no ability to resist and was knocked down by Uchiha Kiwama. Kakashi reached out and lifted up his forehead protector, revealing his Sharingan. Then Kakashi turned his head, but still did not dare to look at Uchiha Choshan, but looked down at his feet. After all this was done, Kakashi said, "Uchiha Choshan, I know that you are a genius of the Uchiha clan. Although you are younger than me, you have awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan. Even if your strength is in Konoha village, I am also among the top batch. I am far from your opponent, but you should not open your Mangekyo Sharingan for no reason. If you do this, it will be difficult for me not to doubt your intentions." Uchiha Xiaoshan saw that Kakashi was avoiding his Mangekyo Sharingan like a snake and scorpion, and chuckled. "It seems that Kakashi-senpai is more afraid of my Mangekyo Sharingan. I don't know that Kakashi-senpai is afraid of us." "Uchi, how much do you know about the Wave Clan's Mangekyo Sharingan?" Kakashi still kept his gaze on Uchiha Choshan's feet, not daring to meet his eyes. Knowing that Uchiha Choshan didn't have much hostility towards him, although he still didn't dare to let down his guard, he breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Actually, I didn't know much about it before. I only knew that Uchiha's Sharingan has 1 Magatama to 3 Magatama. But since you used Susanoo outside the village and killed Danzo and the others with 1 blow, I became the 3rd generation Hokage. Sir, I have learned that the Sharingan of your Uchiha clan has a higher form, called the Mangekyo Sharingan. However, it seems difficult to awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan. Even in the Uchiha clan, it has not appeared for many years. And the Susanoo you used that day was the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan." Uchiha Xiaoshan nodded unconsciously when he heard Kakashi's words. He also didn't expect that Kakashi already had such a thorough understanding of the Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Xiaoshan didn't know that what Kakashi knew was all the information left by the 2nd Hokage Senju Tobarama to the 3rd Hokage. Since the 3rd Hokage arranged for Uchiha Xiaoshan to Kakashi, of course he would also tell the relevant information. Uchiha Choshan waited for Kakashi to finish speaking, and praised, I didn't expect that you actually know the Sharingan better than most of our Uchiha clan members. The Sharingan of Uchiha Obito does not matter to you. It's sort of buried. Uchiha Choshan paused, then asked, then do you know why I opened my Mangekyo Sharingan to you for no reason? Kakashi was also a little confused and shook his head. I don't know why you opened the Mangekyo Sharingan. After all, the Mangekyo Sharingan is the ultimate blood inheritance limit of your Uchiha clan. It should cost a lot of money to open and use it. With so little chakra, since you are not hostile to me and are not planning to take action against me, I don't know why. No matter how big of a mind Kakashi had, he could not have imagined that the Sharingan he possessed was not an ordinary 3 Magatama Sharingan, but a Mangekyo Sharingan. Even among the Uchiha clan, here, it is also an extremely precious treasure. Chapter 79 Kakashi's Gratitude. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Uchiha Xiaoshan looked at Kakashi's somewhat confused expression and did not hide it anymore. Instead, he said straightforwardly, word for word. Senior Kakashi, after my examination, I found that your Sharingan is not an ordinary 3 Magatama Sharingan, but the same as my eyes, a Mangekyo Sharingan. But because you don't have Uchiha's bloodline has not been well adjusted with this Sharingan, so it has not revealed its power and its own pupil technique. Kakashi touched his Sharingan in confusion. He did not expect that the Sharingan given to him by Obito Uchiha that had accompanied him for many years turned out to be the Mangekyo Sharingan. He wanted to doubt whether Uchiha Xiaoshan's words were misunderstood, or whether he was deliberately deceiving him, but what was his purpose? Moreover, Uchiha Xiaoshan himself is the genius who opened the Mangekyo Sharingan, and now he is the deputy leader of the Uchiha clan. Whether it is strength, power, or future development, he is incomparable. Uchiha Xiaoshan also saw Kakashi's disbelief and confusion, and shouted, Kakashi, look at me, I will use my Mangekyo Sharingan as a guide to drive your Sharingan, and wait for you. If the Sharingan reveals its true face, everything will be clear to you. When Kakashi heard what Uchiha Xiaoshan said, he was also eager to know the truth and what all this was going on. He gritted his teeth, raised his head, and looked at Uchiha Xiaoshan's Mangekyo Sharingan. On the eyes, when Uchiha Xiaoshan copied Kakashi's Sharingan's pupil technique before, he had activated his Sharingan and evolved his Sharingan into the Mangekyo Sharingan, so he was familiar with it this time. After Kakashi faced his Mangekyo Sharingan, Uchiha Xiaoshan mobilized his Mangekyo Sharingan to connect to Kakashi's Sharingan. Of course, this was all agreed by Kakashi. If Kakashi Nishi disagrees, even Uchiha Okayama's eternal Mangekyo Sharingan cannot affect Kakashi's Sharingan. After Uchiha Xiaoshan connected to Kakashi's Sharingan with his pupil power, he silently activated his Mangekyo Sharingan. Slowly, Kakashi's Sharingan also slowly rotated. Slowly, the rotation speed is getting faster and faster. As Kakashi's Sharingan rotated faster and faster, he clearly felt that after his Sharingan reached one of his limits, it easily broke through. Then, Kakashi felt that his Sharingan, as soon as the Sharingan heats up, the world seen in the Sharingan suddenly becomes different, just like a person with 800 degrees of myopia suddenly puts on suitable glasses and sees the essence of the world clearly. HD views from near and far, and Kakashi could clearly feel that just when his Sharingan broke through the limit, an awkward but refreshing feeling told him that deep in his Sharingan, there was still something that was not a ninjutsu. And it is not a powerful existence of secret techniques. Kakashi suddenly thought of what Uchiha Choshan said just now, and understood that this is the exclusive eye technique of this Mangekyo Sharingan. At this moment, Uchiha Xiaoshan suddenly formed a seal with his hands and used water escape to summon a wall made of water between the two. The water wall was calm and waveless and could be used as a mirror. Kakashi saw the wall of water summoned by Uchiha Okayama, and looked at his reflection on it. Everything else was normal, except for his Sharingan. It was originally the Sharingan of the 3 Magatama, and became another pattern was created, which looked like a triangular windmill. It was not only more beautiful than the previous one, but also had a breathtaking power. After Uchiha Xiaoshan saw that Kakashi had clearly seen his Sharingan, he slowly stopped the rotation of his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. As the rotation stopped, it connected to Kakashi's pupils. The power was also cut off. Then, Kakashi clearly felt that his Mangekyo Sharingan was running slower and slower, and the pupil technique he could feel became more and more blurred. Finally, it degenerated into the original 3 Magatama Sharingan. Uchiha Okayama casually waved his hand to disperse the water wall erected between the two of them, and asked with a smile, "Have you felt the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan and its pupil technique? Trust me this time." "Did you say what you said?" Kakashi felt his Sharingan and felt a sense of loss. After all, the Mangekyo Sharingan just brought him a new feeling of power, and there was also the one sleeping deep in the Mangekyo Sharingan. The pupil technique gave him a feeling of great power, but this feeling disappeared with the degradation of the Sharingan, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of loss. However, Kakashi cheered up when he heard Uchiha Xiaoshan's question, and nodded directly, indicating that he now fully believed what Uchiha Xiaoshan said. When Uchiha Xiaoshan saw Kakashi nodding in recognition, he continued, "This is the first time I have encountered you in this situation. After all, the Mangekyo Sharingan is very rare even in our Uchiha clan. Unexpectedly, Uchiha Obito, the Sharingan given to you will evolve into the Mangekyo Sharingan. I don't know where the problem is." Immediately afterwards, Uchiha Okayama's tone became serious and warned Kakashi, "Senior Kakashi, originally, as the deputy chief of the Uchiha clan, it is impossible for me to see the Mangekyo Sharingan of my clan leak out and remain indifferent. But now, my Uchiha clan was planning to move out of Konoha village, and there was a lot of trouble. Moreover, our Uchiha clan has promised to give this Sharingan to you for the 3rd and 4th generations. It is not good to go back on our word. Therefore, I will pretend that I don't know about it this time. When you use it in the future, don't reveal that this is a Mangekyo Sharingan. Otherwise, it will be difficult for me as the deputy leader of the Uchiha clan, and I may be forced to recycle this Mangekyo Sharingan." Kakashi didn't expect that Uchiha Xiaoshan would say such a thing, but when he thought about it, it was indeed the case. It was originally an ordinary 3 Magatama Sharingan, but the Uchiha clan looked at the face of the 3rd and 4th generations. "I just pinched my nose and recognized it. However, if this is a precious Mangekyo Sharingan, the Uchiha clan will never let it leak out. Even the elder of the Uchiha clan will go absolutely crazy if he knows about it. Even if he risks his own life, he will take it." This leaked Mangekyo Sharingan was retracted. Kakashi wanted to understand the joints, and he was very grateful to Uchiha Xiaoshan. It was not that he coveted the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan, but he was reluctant to part with the eye given to him by Uchiha Obito. Kakashi looked at Uchiha Xiaoshan and said in a very sincere tone, "Uchiha Xiaoshan, thank you, don't worry, I will keep it a secret." Chapter 80 Maoyue Xiyan was critically attacked. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Uchiha Xiaoshan nodded with satisfaction when he saw Kakashi being so understanding. The reason why he left this Mangekyo Sharingan to Kakashi was because he wanted to see it. Kakashi discovered the Sharingan years in advance. With the power of the eye technique, is it possible to discover Uchiha Obito hidden behind the scenes? Another thing is that since I can't find Uchiha Obito for the time being, I will ask Kakashi to use Kamui when I have nothing to do, and I will throw a few ninjutsu in there for fun, even if I happen to hit Uchiha Obito. It's unlikely, but it's like opening a blind box. It's very exciting, isn't it? Uchiha Xiaoshan finally told Kakashi, "I have taken your Sharingan with you to let you feel how to use it and let it evolve into the Mangekyo Sharingan. You have to remember this feeling, and then work hard in this area. When you can open it through your own efforts, your observation and illusion abilities will increase a lot. Moreover, if you felt carefully just now, you should have discovered that inside this Mangekyo Sharingan, there is a special power that is neither a ninjutsu nor a secret technique. This power is unique to the Mangekyo Sharingan of our Uchiha clan. Eye surgery." Uchiha Xiaoshan paused, and when Kakashi nodded to express that he felt it, he continued, "This pupil technique is also the unique power of our Uchiha clan's Mangekyo Sharingan. This pupil technique varies from person to person, and everyone they are all different. When you can open the Mangekyo Sharingan, you can feel it carefully and it will tell you its function." Uchiha Xiaoshan told Kakashi some precautions. After all, he is the one who holds the inheritance of the Uchiha clan. Of course, he knows much more than Kakashi, a Sharingan novice, knows. This time, he will take care of the card. Kakashi was knocked unconscious and copied the divine power of the eye technique, which was a great reward and was considered a return gift to Kakashi. The two chatted for a while, and Uchiha Xiyan took the initiative to end the conversation. After all, his target this time, Uzumaki Korei and her daughter, were still being looked at by Yuzuki Yugan. Although he believed in Yuzuki Yuyan more, he was afraid that they would touch her. If there is an accident, then this time it will be in vain. Koro later appeared in one of Orochimaru's bases, indicating that Orochimaru was more or less interested in the bloodline constitution of the Uzumaki clan in Koro, but it shouldn't be now. After all, he met Uchiha Sasuke when he was sent to Konoha village to take the Chunin exam by Kusagakure village. This means that Orochimaru had not met Uchiha Sasuke at least before Sasuke graduated, so there was no need for him this time. Afraid of an accident if he encounters Orochimaru, when Uchiha Okayama and Kakashi came back, it was indeed peaceful. Uzumaki Korei and her daughter were still resting quietly there, while Yuzuki Yugan was guarding them vigilantly. In fact, according to the physique of the Uzumaki clan, Uzumaki Korei should have woken up from genjutsu hypnosis long ago, but Uzumaki Korei's body probably needed rest so much that she didn't wake up and directly relied on deep sleep to recover from the damage to her body. Uchiha Xiyan came to Yuzuki Xiyan and looked at her tired little face. The lines on her face also softened. He said to Yuzuki Xiyan with a gentle expression, "Thank you for your hard work, Xiyan. Here Kakashi and I are watching, so you should take a rest quickly." After all, Yuzuki Yugan is just a newcomer who has just joined ANBU. Although she is good at both swordsmanship and strength, she still cannot compare with a pervert like Uchiha Xiyan. In addition, they had just carried Uzumaki Karen and her daughter on their backs for several hours, so they were exhausted. Captain Kakashi didn't wake up before, and even when he woke up, he immediately went out with Uchiha Xiyan. Yuzuki Yugan also worked hard to guard Uzumaki Korei and her daughter, seeing that Uchiha Xiyan gently asked him to rest, and Captain Kakashi beside him nodded in agreement. He was not polite and directly found a seat next to Uchiha Xiyan and rested quietly. Although Yuzuki Yugan followed Kakashi for a little longer, she just felt that there was a feeling of peace of mind around Uchiha Xiyan, and she couldn't help but feel close to him. In this world of ninjas, everyone, whether they are ninjas or ordinary people, actually live a precarious life, so both men and women are relatively bold in dealing with relationships. Moreover, Uchiha Xiyan is handsome, gentle, powerful, comes from a wealthy family, and has a prominent status. The key is that he is still single, and he has a fatal attraction for her, so Yuzuki Yugan didn't care about being reserved. Although she didn't say it explicitly, she boldly hinted at Uchiha Xiyan to express her thoughts about him. Uchiha Xiyan also responded very gently to Yuzuki Yugan's expression, letting her rest peacefully. After all, Yuzuki Yugan is also a beautiful woman with a good figure and a beautiful face. Uchiha Xiyan is also happy to accept the beauty's overtures. And Kakashi was a little helpless when he saw Yuzuki Yuyan's attitude. It wasn't that he had any thoughts about Wozuki Yuyan, but he was a little surprised and helpless when he saw Wozuki Yuyan's bold expression. After all, Kakashi is still single. The dog, and he will still be a single dog for many years to come, so he feels a little overwhelmed by these dog foods. Time passed by minute by second, and after experiencing so many things in the night, neither Kakashi nor Uchiha Xiyan had the nature to talk. Moreover, both of them are powerful ninjas, and Uchiha Xiyan's powerful mental power is equivalent to that of half a telepathic ninja, so the vigil is still very easy for them. Uchiha Okayama and Kakashi only stayed on guard for a few hours before the sky became brighter. Uchiha Xiyan saw that it was already dawn, so he did not add more fuel to the bonfire, but quietly looked into the distance, watching the morning sun slowly rise from the horizon. In this world, only the sun is still the same, even the moon has changed, so Uchiha Xiyan likes to watch the sunrise. Only when watching the sunrise can he find the feeling of being in the previous world, and Maoyue Xiyan wakes up in this kind of smoke and the rising sun. When he woke up, before he was fully awake, he saw Uchiha Okayama's perfect profile. Under the illumination of the morning sun, the side face seemed to be illuminated by a layer of golden light. Coupled with the handsome and strong lines, in Maoyue Xiyan's eyes, it was like a god descending to earth, and the eyes that reflected the sunlight were even more shining, as if they could be reflected into Maoyue Xiyan's heart, making her completely crazy. Uchiha Xiyan did not expect that when she had just woken up and was still confused, she would be hit hard by Uchiha Okayama's appearance. Maoyue Xiyan covered her hot face and murmured to herself, "Oh my god, can I still be saved? Who can come and save me?"